Okay. Hello, everyone. Very good morning to everybody for today's session. So, let me share my screen quickly. Hope you're able to see my screen.
Yes, Venkat.
Okay. So, on Friday, we have discussed about Python lists, the introduction to Python data collections. Just give me a minute. Okay. So, we have discussed about data collections in Python. What are data collections? Why we need data collections? What are the different data structures that are being supported by Python? So all these things we have discussed on Friday. Just a recap. Python have four unique data structures: one list, set, tuple, and dictionary. Okay, four different data structures we have in Python: list, set, tuple, dictionary. And what is a data structure or data collection? So, in Python, there is a different data type called data collection. So, what do I mean by that? So, data collection is refers to store or hold multiple data elements in a single variable. Remember, data collection refers to store or hold multiple data elements in a single variable. Okay, so that's what we'll call it as data collection. Under the data collection umbrella, we have four different types. Okay, so first one is list, second one is set, third one is tuple, fourth one is dictionary. Okay, so we'll see one by one. So we have seen some introduction about the lists on Friday. We'll just recap and we'll discuss more methods uh, about Python lists today, and then we will see set also today. Okay, so let's move on. Yeah. So as I was already told, Python lists are used to store and manipulate collection of data elements or collection of items, and Python lists are ordered, and we can change Python lists, and these lists can allow duplicate values. Okay, so these are the three basic behaviors or functionalities of a Python list. Okay, so list in Python is ordered. That means the elements that we store inside a list will follow a specific order based on the index positions. Okay, and the list that you create in Python is always a mutable entity, meaning you can change your list elements at any point of time. You can add elements into the list, you can remove elements into the list, you can insert elements into the list at any point of time. That is why we'll call Python lists or mutable or changeable. Okay, and list by default will allow duplicates. That means the same element in a list can be repeated multiple times. That means you can insert the same element into the list multiple times. List will allow that kind of behavior. Okay, so that is what it allows: duplicate values. Okay, So let's quickly recap what we have discussed about list practical stations. So let's go back to our IDE and quickly test our list methods or list based practical things. Okay, so this is the declaration of the list variable. So we will declare a list using square braces. Okay, if you want to declare empty list, you can just open and close square brace so that it refers to empty list. Okay, now once you declare the list and assume that you have data elements, or you have multiple different items into the list. So we know that list is a data collection. Okay, so data collection meaning it stores multiple different data elements. Okay, and the elements inside the list will follow a specific order based on the indexes. That means if you insert elements into the list, the elements will will store internally using a specific order. That order will be defined by the index positions. Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That means index positioning always starts index positioning always starts with 0. Okay. Now, in the declared list, at the 0th position, what is the element I have? I have one element. At the first position, I have element 2. Okay. At the second position, I have element 3. Okay. It is not necessary that a list can have only elements of same data type. You can always create lists with mixed data type also. Remember, you can always create lists with mixed data type also. That means you can have a list with integer values or and string values into it. Okay. And how we can access elements from the list? You can always access elements from the list based on the index positions. Okay, so based on the index positions. So here if you see, I'm just printing my first element in my list. Okay, so here, so if you run this, so there is some error in this. Okay, so here if you see my first element or my element from the list, so forget about all these things. So these are different print statements that I'm using in different sections. So first is how to access element from the list. Okay, so here if you see, you declared a list, and then you're trying to extract elements from that list by using the index positions. Okay, so be very very clear about it. So you can pass any index, it will return. Okay, you can pass any index, it will return. Okay, so index position, as I already told you, it starts with 0. So that is the reason when you asked 0th index, it returned one value. Okay, so for example, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, I have only 4 indexes. If I query or if I ask for the index which is not present in my list, okay, it always returns index out of range exception. Remember this exception, you'll see regularly in your real time projects. Okay, so sometimes in the loops or in the for loops, you unnecessarily, or unwantedly or unfortunately will query the indexes that are not present in the list. So that times you will get this kind of exceptions. Okay, list index out of range, meaning you are trying to extract index position that is not available in the list. Okay, in the list you have only 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 4 index you have, but you're trying to query or you're trying to extract the fifth index position. Okay, so that is where you will get list index out of range exception. Okay, so this is how one, I mean, this is what we need to understand about the behavior of the list. So when we will get exceptions. Okay, so this is how we will access elements from the list. Okay, and how I can add elements into the list, right? So okay, so now I know how to declare a list, how to declare an empty list. Okay, so how to declare an empty list, let us see. uh, I have, okay, so this is my empty list. Now what I'm doing, I'm actually trying to append. So if you say list dot append, if you say list dot append, append is a function that you can apply on top of a list. Okay, and by using append function you can add elements into the list. Okay, now let us see. Okay, see here, you added your element 100, okay, into the list called empty list. Okay, initially you declared it as empty, and later you added your element as 100. Okay, so now it's stored in the first position itself because it is an empty list. Okay, but what if you add elements to the list which is already having few elements into them? Okay, so here if you see, it always add your value that you appended at the end of your list. That is the list dot append, list dot append. Okay, so append is a method or a function we will use to add elements at the end of the list. Okay, at the end of the list always. Okay, so now let us understand. No, I don't want this behavior. I want to add elements wherever I want, at whatever the position I want. I mean, I want to add, so that is my requirement. In that case, you can follow this kind of declaration wherein you can pass index position along with the value. Okay, so here if you see, I'm adding element 10 in the position 3. That means I want to add 10 value in the third index. Okay, so this is how we will add list of the index position equals to the value. For example, my list of 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, the value is 4 here. If the list of 3 is already exist with a different value, then my new value will gets overwrite that position. Be very very clear about it. Okay, so this is what list updating will call it as. Okay, list updating, my list of index position equals to the value. Okay, so this is how you will update your list. So you know how to declare a list, you know how to access elements based on the indexes from the list, you know how to append element or how to add element at the end of the list using append function, right? Now you know how to add elements, or you know how to update a particular list based on the index position. So now you can add your values or you can modify your Python list. For example, I know the index at this index position, I want to update a specific value. So you can do that. So that is why your list is mutable. So you can change your list at any point of time, at any at any index position you want to, because your list is mutable. The basic functionality of the list is mutable. Okay, so that is what I mean. These are all the things we have discussed already on Friday, but most of the people joined pretty new today. So I thought of recollecting all those concepts so that it will refresh knowledge as well, right? So and then we move to list slicing. Any questions or any queries? Okay, fine. So then we actually jumped into list slicing on Friday. So we have seen this as well. So how to extract a portion from the list, right? So for example, this index to this index, how to extract. So I need only the 2 positions from my list. I need only 10 positions from my list. So I need uh, elements from the backward. So all these things we have seen on Friday. So here, if you see, this is the declaration. If you want to query the list starting from the second index, I need everything. In that scenario, you can utilize this notation. And similarly, I need elements between the starting and ending index positions. So this is how you can declare. But remember, if you are slicing your list with this, your ending index position is always exclusive. Okay. Okay. So your ending index position is always exclusive. That means if you are asking for fourth index at the end, okay, it will always give you 3. That it is exclusive. 4 minus 1 it will take. Okay. So 4 is the length. It is not the index position. Remember how many elements that you need from this position. Okay. So that is what it means. Okay. So then we have seen how to combine lists. So this is something that is new thing. So here, if you see, if you have 2 lists, okay, and how you can make it as one, right? So how to combine or union your lists, right? So here, if you see, I'm declaring one more new list, and I have already a list that is got declared at the beginning itself, and how you can combine your list, right? So print here, if you see, combined list. Okay, see my combined list. Okay, so your plus operator plays a very vital role in Python, guys. Remember, if you are using it with the string variables, it will concatenate your string content. Okay, if you are using it with integer variables, it will do some operation. Okay, it will, if you use plus with data collections like lists, it will combine your lists that you pass. Okay, so this is the different behavior for a single operator in Python. So be very, very clear about how you are utilizing your plus operator. Okay. So the next method, so we will move into list methods. So on Friday we have seen few methods to understand how a list behaves. Okay, so first and foremost method that we will see is list dot sort. Okay, so here if you see the definition of your sort method, sorts the list in ascending order. Okay, and it returns the none. Remember, if you assign the result of this sort to a different variable, your variable always becomes none because it doesn't return anything. Be very, very clear about it. That is the reason we have got none value when we applied this sort function on Friday. Okay, people who joined on Friday, maybe you try to recollect. We tried to utilize sort method that day and we got none. The reason for that is it returns nothing. I mean, it returns none. If you try to assign your sort output, if you try to assign your sort output to a specific variable, then what will happen? Your variable will get a none. Okay, you should not apply or you should not assign the return of this sort to any variable. Be very, very clear on that front, because that day we did that mistake. But later on I went and read this definition of the sort method. So the beauty of Python is you can always click the control enter on any function. You can go to the definition and validate how this function works. In the comment section, they have clearly given sort the list in ascending order and return none. Right? So this is the real signature of your sort function. Okay. So let us quickly test. So here our final list is the combination of my list and then the new second list. Okay, so now I'm applying the sort function on top of the final list. Now the combined list is this: 1 2 3 10 5 2 3 4 5. Is this following any order, guys? I mean, it is not in order, right? I mean, it is not in ascending order, or it is not in this, it is not following any descending order. So when you apply sort on top of this list, it it will sort your list in ascending order. Okay, so here if I'm just giving sorted output. Okay, so when you do this, see, your output is properly sorted: 1 2 2 3 3 4 5 5 10. See, each element, if it is repeated, it will place the second, it will all the repeated elements will follow consecutive order in the sorted list. Okay, so remember, if your elements are duplicated inside a list and you are sorting that list, your duplicated elements will follow consecutive order in the resultant list. Be very, very clear about it. Okay, so that is how the list dot sort function will work. Okay. Okay, so now there is no descending sorting, guys. There is no descending sorting. So if you want to do descending, then you need to use reverse function. Okay, so you just take the list first and then sort it and then reverse it, so that you will get descending of it, right? So that's how the logically you need to think and you need to apply your functions. Okay, so now here we'll see the count function. So we already discussed the count function returns number of occurrences of a element inside a list. So most of the people will get confused here. So count will return number of elements. No. Okay, count function on a list will take one input. Okay, that input is the element value. Okay, that input is the element value. So here I'm applying the count function on my final list. Okay, on my final list. Okay, and I'm trying to find the count of an element 2. Okay, so that means I'm asking, hey, how many times my element 2 got repeated in the final list. Okay, so now your output should be 2, because your element 2 got repeated twice in your list. Okay, so now here if you see count output, I'm just running. Count output is 2, right? You're counting the occurrences of number of occurrences of element 2. Okay, so this is the count output. And then let's move on to remove function. Okay, so this remove function is something, the element that you want to remove, right? So the element that you want to remove, you can pass and it will remove the element from that list. And there is one catch here. You need to understand the functionality, the actual functionality of the remove element. So if you go there, removes the first occurrence of a value, be very very clear about it. Okay, so removes the first occurrence of the value. That means if my 2 got repeated twice in a particular list, when you use remove of 2, it will remove only the first occurrence. Be very very clear on that front. So it will remove only the first occurrence, it won't touch the second occurrence. If you want to remove, then you need to apply your brain on top of it and try to iterate and then remove, or try to use multiple removes, or whatever you want to do you can do logically. But the functionality of the remove method is it will remove the element that you are gonna pass in the remove function of the first occurrence, that it will remove only the first occurrence of that element. Okay, so now let us understand little bit more about the remove function. And it also, you should not assign it to a variable. See here, it removed the first occurrence. So this is the previous list, it removed the first occurrence and then it has returned a list, right? So now if you see this, it removed and it modified the final list. Okay, now let us assume you have given a element that is not there in the list. Let us say till 10 you have here in the list, and then I'm giving 11. So hey, I'm just telling, hey, go and remove 11 element from this final list. Okay, so now let's see how actually your remove function will work. See this, it is not available in the list. It always raises an exception saying, hey, the value that you're asking to remove is not present in the list, man. How you are asking? Check your list again. That is what it is saying. Okay, try to understand your exceptions also, guys. It will help you to learn better about the functionality of each and every function, right? So here, if you understand correctly, remove is a function that we will use to remove an element from the list, but it will remove only the first occurrence of that element. And if you tries to remove an element which is not present in your list, it will always raise a value error exception saying the requested element cannot be removed and it was not present in your list. Any queries, guys? Any questions? Okay. So let's move on to our next function.
I will.
Yes, yes.
You can remove multiple numbers also.
Sorry?
Multiple numbers.
Uh,
Multi-
I don't think it is possible, Bablu. So let's check it. Good question. See this, Bablu.
okay.
It will take only one element as an input. Okay.
Okay.
Your list dot remove method will take only one element at a time as an input. So if you pass multiple elements, it will raise type error. So here it is clearly saying list dot remove takes exactly one argument.
Okay.
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 Yeah. Fine. So let's move on to our next function, insert. Okay. So list dot insert. So what we are trying to do here, your insert function will will be utilized when you try to insert a element in a specific index position. Okay, in a specific index position. So let us take my final list. I have my final list. Okay, so this is my final list, and I want to insert a element called 230. Okay, an element called 230 in the index position 2. Here if you see the message also, index object. So which object you want to insert in which index? Okay, so when you do this, your insert function, when you do this, your insert function will always try to insert that particular value into this particular index. Okay, see this. So in the second position, it inserted 230. Okay, so now you can ask a question. Hey Venkat, you have already told one way of inserting value in a specific index position, but how different this insert function is. Okay, so this way we already seen, correct? So list of the index position, list of so this index position, and then the value also works similar, correct? So also works similar. So how does these two approaches different? So let us understand a little bit deeper about this insert or add or modifying list, right? So here if you see, clearly observe, guys, come along with me. So here you are trying to insert element in a specific position inside a list. Okay, now you try to insert that element in the second index. It has taken and it updated. Okay, now let us assume you don't have 100th index here. Okay, but you try to insert 100th index. Okay, you try to insert 100th index. So now when you do that, it will always, insert function always take it and add it at the end of your list. Be very very clear on this. Okay, your insert function still take that element and add that element at the end of your list, even though you don't have this 100 position. Okay, so now let's test our next approach, which is actually, this way you're trying to insert your 100th position in the list. Okay, this always raises an error saying list assignment index out of range. Be very very clear. Remember, you try to insert your element using the insert function, and you try to insert your element using this basic way. Then you see the difference, right? Your insert function is not raising any exception if you try to insert an element in the specific index position or that index is not present. But this way, where you are actually trying to insert an element or push an element or modify an element with this position or with this notation, then it is raising an exception. If you are pushing, or if you are trying to update an element which is, or update an index which is not present in your list, right? So this is the different, guys, two ways of inserting, or two ways of modifying your list, but this is the difference. Okay. So moving on, extend. Extend is a function which will utilize to again join the lists. Okay. So here, if you see, list 1 plus list 2 is equal to the extend function. Okay. So extend, the declaration for extend is this. So L1 dot extend of L2, that means it will combine L2 after L1. Be very, very clear. So here L1 dot extend L2, you're saying, that means extend L1 with L2. Okay. So when you do this, what will happen? Okay. So when you do this, if you see, your L1 list came first, and then your L2 list came with the proper order. No shuffle or no change in the order. It just combines two lists. But if you want L2 list to be taken as a reference, or to be treated as a first list, then you can always apply L2 dot extend L1, right? L2 dot extend L1. So in that scenario, it will go and change L2. Okay. So what your L2 will become? Your L2 will become like this. Your L2 list, and then your L1
L1
list.
list.
This is the utilization, or this is the usage of your extend function. Okay. Then moving on, the index function. So this index function is very, very important. In real time, we always use this index function to fetch the particular index position of an element. Okay. So here, if you clearly observe, you are trying to extract the position of V element from the L1 list. Okay. You're trying to extract the position of V element from the list. Okay. So here, let us understand how actually it behaves. Okay. So here, if you see, I'm just asking, hey, give me the index of V element, okay, from the L1 list. So now it will return the index position of your V from the L1. So 0 and 1. Okay. So now we have seen pop function also on Friday. So pop is a function that we use to remove elements. Okay. So pop is a function that we use to remove elements in the specific index. So here, if you see, if you say pop of 1, it will go and remove the element that is present in that index. Okay. So if you say pop of -1, so it will go and it will remove the last element. The default behavior of the pop function is it will remove the last element. Okay. So now you have two functions to remove elements from the list, right? You have remove function and you have pop function. So which one to use according to your requirement in the real time problem solving is your choice, guys. Okay. So it depends on your requirement. If you are processing a file data, and you need to remove, or you need to clean some data based on some conditions, and then which function will suffice your requirement, that function only you need to use. It always depends on your requirement. You need to remove only the first occurrence of the value, then you will go for remove. You need to remove values based on the index positions. You can go for pop function, right? So that is how you need to pick your function. So you want to remove all the duplicates from a specific data file, then you can go for a different functionality, right? So it always where, so you can ask me a question like, Venkat, you are giving me all this list of functions, where we will actually use these functions? We will use these functions in real time project development. Okay, so wherein you take data from the input and you try to clean it using your Python program. Then in that kind of automations, you will use all these functions. When you're playing with data, or when you're reading files from your server locations or servers in real time projects, so you'll get your variables in Python after reading your files, and then you will clean those variables. You will apply all these functions on top of those variables, and then you will clean the data, and then write that cleaned data into a different location, so that the that cleaned file can be utilized, for further purpose, for further business purpose. Okay, so you can ask me the next question of why we need to do all these things. So this is needed by your business, guys. For example, when you are working in a project, okay, that project have some goal. Okay, so to reach that goal, if you are involved into application development project, to reach that goal, you need to work on multiple different tasks. Okay, so each task that you are going to work is a development task. Okay, so that you need to build some solution, or you need to develop some logic to solve some problem. So people will come to you with the requirement. They don't come to you with the technology. Be very, very clear on that, on this front. Okay. So if you are working in a real time project, people will come to you with a requirement, or users. We'll call them as the end users. Okay. So end users come to you with a requirement. They don't come to you with the technology. Be very, very clear on that front. Okay. If you have a user and they will come to you and give you a problem, that's it. They don't come to you and ask, hey Venkat, use this Python list and solve me this problem. No, they don't say that. Okay, hey Venkat, I have a file which is having very junk data. Could you please help me to or could you please help me to develop a solution which will clean the file, and that cleaned file will help me in better reporting to my business? This is how people will come to you and ask, guys. Be very, very clear. Okay, so they don't come to you and ask, hey Venkat, please write a Python program for me. No, never. Okay, because business users doesn't know the technology. They don't have any understanding of the technology. As a technology developers, as a technology builders, we have to understand their requirement, and we have to develop the solution for them. Okay, in the process of developing that solution, you will use all these concepts. Okay, so, and remember, no one will come to you and ask for, hey Venkat, what is 2 into 2? No. Okay, requirements always come complex. Be very, very clear. Few requirements you can get it easily, but few requirements, they'll come to you very complex. You need to put your brain, and you need to think a lot to solve those kind of problems. Okay, so it is not like simply list dot insert, list dot append. No, real time project implementation, you'll see. So I'll definitely take you to that path as well. Okay, so after completing these data collections, I will give you few real time tasks. Okay, so to make you think in a different way. So no requirement will say directly to use list dot sort, list dot remove, list dot pop. No, no requirement will say this. Requirements will come to you functionally. Understand this, guys. Requirements in the projects will come to you functionally, not technically. That functional requirement you need to understand, and you need to implement that in the technical terms. Okay, So to implement that in the technical terms for the business problems, we need a solid programming language, or you need some kind of programming. But it may be Python, or it may be SQL, or it may be .NET, Java, anything. But some technology you need to solve the real world problems, right? So that is where we are going. Okay, so if a few people still in confusion why we need all these functions, where we will use these functions, right? So this is the answer for that type of questions, guys. Okay, fine. So that is about the I mean usage of all these functions, where we actually use, and how actually the requirement comes in, right? So now here, if you see, we are moving on to the reverse function. Okay, so reverse is a function that we'll use to reverse a particular list. Okay, so here if you see, you have your L1 list. Okay, so which is having HVSR elements. When you say list dot reverse, list dot reverse. So let's see how it actually behaves. Any queries, guys? Any queries about the real-time implementations or projects, or any confusions still for anybody? Okay. See here, guys. SVH. So your reverse output from your list, compare. You already popped the last element, so that's why you're not seeing it. Okay. So here, if you see, this is the reverse output. Okay. So you can clear all the output, I mean elements in a list also. You have list dot clear. Okay, you have list dot clear. So here if you see L1 dot clear. So here when you apply clear, so it will simply clears your list. See this. It will remove everything from that list, and it will put you an empty list for you. Okay. Then we will discuss this today. So this is a very important concept in real time projects. We most oftenly we'll use this concept. So copying of lists. Okay, so when you do copying of lists, for example, you have one list declared and it has, let us say, 1,000 elements, and you want to copy that list to another list, and you need to do operations on top of the other list. So when you do that, how that copying will behave, right? So we have two major types of copying in Python, guys. One is the shallow copying. Another one is the deep copying. Okay, so let us understand the difference clearly. Okay, so I'll just take the basic example first. I don't go into the copy module. Okay, so first let's create a new Python file. Okay. Okay, so the basic list copying. So for example, you have a list called L1. Okay, so list one. Okay, so here you have 1 2 3 4 5 6 elements. Okay, now you need to copy these elements into another list. Okay, so let us take an example. You are taking L2 and you're assigning it to L1. So now in this case, what will happen? So your L1 list, you feel that you are assigning it to L2, so it will create a new variable, and then it will take L1 elements, and it will duplicate. right? So now let us understand. So print L1, print L2. Okay. So you are clear, right? So now I have taken a list and I assigned it to, I copied my list 1 to list 2 using equal to operator, using equal to operator. Okay. So now when you do this, what will happen? It created a new variable called L2, but when you do print statement, it has given two lists, right? Now let's see the magic, guys. So here, if you see L1 dot append, okay, L1 dot append 100. So what I'm doing, I'm trying to append 100 value to my L1 list. Okay. So when you do this, what will happen? See this. It changed in two variables. It changed in the parent list and the child list. So that means what? Your L2 equals to L1 statement. Everything is there here. So L2 equals to L1, meaning it is just referencing that L1 list, but it is not duplicating that entire object values. Be very, very clear, guys. Okay. So when you say L2 equals to L1, it is not creating or it is not duplicating your L1 list again. It is simply referencing your L1 list elements. Whatever is there in the L1, just pointer. Your L2 list pointer will just reference that memory. That's it. Okay. But it won't duplicate, it won't create a new uh, variables or new elements in a new memory location. No, it won't do that. That is your equal to operator. You have one parent list and you assigned it to another child list. So what will happen when you do apply operations to your parent list, or for that matter your child list? Let's see. See this. Okay. So when you do this equal to, it won't duplicate your data, and it won't create a new object or new variable altogether with new memory allocation. No, it won't do that. It will take the existing list memory allocation and it will just reference your new variable to that memory pointers or memory locations. That's it. This is what the shallow copying, that means it won't create new or it won't duplicate your elements. Rather, it will reference to your existing element memory locations. So whatever you modify there in that memory locations, the new list also will reflect the same, will get reflected with the same. Okay. So this is what the shallow copying. Be very, very clear, guys. So now to implement this kind of, or to implement this kind of functionalities, we have in Python we have a module called copy. Okay. So here, if you see, so using the copy module, I just given you some glimpse, guys, using the equals to operator, how actually the list copying works. Okay. So let us understand the actual shallow versus deep copy modules in Python. Okay. So here, if you see, you have a module called copy. So import copy, meaning, so here import meaning your Python have inbuilt modules. Okay. For example, you are reading a JSON file. Okay. So you have import JSON. This is a JSON module that is there in the Python. Okay. Using which you can actually read and write JSON files. Okay. Similarly, some kind of CSV, import CSV. Okay. So these are inbuilt modules, guys. You don't need to write something new to read a CSV file, something new to read a JSON file. Python has already input or already inbuilt modules to do all these basic operations. Okay. So that is what module is. So when you do copy is actually here. If you see, if you go to copy, it's a class or interface. Okay, see here. Okay, this is a module that is already there. Okay, and which is having uh, two functions called copy and a deep copy. Okay, so it is too early to explain you about functions. Okay, we'll go there and we'll understand, but for now try to understand. You have a inbuilt Python module called copy. Okay, and it has two methods. One is copy.copy, another one is copy.deep copy. Okay, so here if you see, I have a old list variable which is a nested list. Okay, which is a nested list. Here if you see, each element in my list is another list. Okay, this is what nest is. Okay, now I'm using a new list variable which is with the copy.copy of. Okay, I'm using copy module, copy.copy I'm using, and I'm passing over my old list. So your new list will get created. Okay, and with the same elements into it. Okay, so now what I'm doing, I'm trying to change old list of 0. So that means this list of 1 again. So that means this position. Okay, and I'm updating with XYZ. Okay, so now when you do this operation, so you are using copy module and you are saying copy.copy. Okay, and you are updating your nested list or nested list element. Okay, so in that case what will happen? Let's see. Okay, 1 second. Yeah, see here, when you use copy.copy and when you try to update your nested list element, your copy.copy changed your old list as well as new list. Okay, now your equals to operator will reference the entire list. Okay, but your copy.copy operator will reference only the nested elements. Be very, very clear about it. Only the independent elements will get duplicate copies, but nested elements will be referenced. Okay, so what do I mean by that? So let us understand it more clear. So if you take individual elements without these nested elements, then your copy.copy will work as expected. But if you take nested elements, it will behave weird, like this. It will update both lists. Okay, so that is the shallow copying, we'll call it as, guys. So instead of duplicating your raw data, it will reference to your raw data, so that when you change your raw data, your referenced list also will get changed. That is what shallow copying. Okay, shallow copying we have two ways, guys. One is equals to operator, another one is copy.copy module. Okay, equals to operator will entirely reference to a list, but copy.copy operator will reference only the nested elements inside the list. It won't show any impact to your it won't show any impact to your individual elements. See here, I'm declaring my individual elements, and then I have nested elements also. If I change my nested element, my copy dot sorry, this is deep copy, right? So I'm changing in deep copy. So if I change in my nested element, my copy.copy changed old list and new list. But if I change my individual element, if I change my individual element, so let us see how my copy is behaving. Okay, what it is saying. Okay, so maybe I need to comment this. Okay. Okay. See here, your old list is updated properly, but your new list did not. I mean, did not update. It has the old values only. Okay. So remember, when you're using copy.copy module, you when you're updating your individual elements, it won't show any. I mean, a difference. It won't update your child list. But when you update your nested elements, then only it will show its behavior. Okay. But if you use equals to operator, it will reference everything. Okay. So whatever you change in parent, it will change in child. Whatever you change in child, it will change in parent. That is your equals to operator. Okay. So now you can ask me, so Venkat, how we can change this behavior? So for example, I have a list. I have a list with 1,000 elements, and I used another list. I copied that list, and whenever I change my parent list, it is updating my child list also. So, but my child list should be constant. It should not change. It should be in the previous state only. And in that case, you need to go for deep copying. Okay, so you need to go for deep copying. Here, if you see, I have my old list. I used copy dot deep copy of my old list. Okay, so that it will create a new object with new memory location and duplicate this old list data into that memory location. So it is not referencing, guys. Be very, very clear. Okay, so it is not referencing. It is not referencing your data. It is creating altogether a new memory address, and it is storing your uh, parent list data into that memory. So that means it is every element will get duplicated in the new memory addresses. So that is the reason when you do this. Okay. So this is the reason when you do your deep copy, it will only change the parent, uh, even if it is nested or even if it is normal element, even it is an individual element or a nested element. It will change only the parent list, or whichever the list that you referred to. It will go and touch that memory address only. It won't touch list. Okay, so that is the deep copy. Okay, so any questions in this? Come on, guys. Any queries or questions? Speak up. Clear? Not clear?
Clear, Venkat.
Yes, clear.
Okay, fine. So we already crossed 10 minutes. So that's all for today, guys. Because I mean, I just want to go a little bit deeper into this. Okay, so tomorrow we will see the sets functionality. No problem. We'll go slowly, but the concept is very, very important for us. Okay, so we need to understand it a little bit deeper, and then only we can become a very good programmers. Right? It's not like simply one line function execute, show output, and then leave. No, we need to understand its behavior and negative cases, exceptions, everything we need to see. Okay, so then only we understanding of the. Okay, so tomorrow we will see the next data collection in our
bucket, which is set. Okay, so we'll see what is set, how we'll create set, and what is the difference between list and set, why we need set. All these things we'll see tomorrow, and we will see different methods that are there on top of sets also. Okay, so that's all for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining once again tomorrow.
Thank you, Venkat. Thank you.
Thank you.